Hey everybody, it is Deanna Hands. I'm here with Kelley Ashby today, and it is Ask Anything Friday, but Kelley is coming on board. I am super pumped, and gosh, I'm so excited. Kelley is going to be teaching emotional intelligence to everybody in the Entrepreneur Society this month, and she actually has so much stuff planned out for us. I have been getting all of her workshops and worksheets and videos, and it's just crazy. So Kelley, thank you so much for being here today, so we can kind of give an idea of what we're going to be doing and what is emotional intelligence. And so you're going to kind of fill us in on all of that, but being so prepared, like the information that you are going to be dropping in this group this month is absolutely mind-blowing, that you're doing all this and just to help the members. So thank you so much.
Well, absolutely, and thank you too. I mean, you're phenomenal too, Deanna, and I appreciate that we've gotten connected and that I can provide this for you and the members, and hopefully everybody will gain something from it.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to start with a really basic, easy question that some people might be asking themselves, right? What the heck is emotional intelligence?
Yeah. Well, actually, that's funny that you asked that, because a lot of people claim to know what it is, but most people's understanding really minimizes the impact that it has on our three big things: decision-making, performance, and behaviors. And I haven't run into anybody so far where those three things aren't really important in both their professional life as well as personal life. And so what emotional intelligence is it's using emotions effectively and using feelings to generate positive results in both yourself, but also those that you're interacting with. And so when I say using it to keep yourself resilient, that's what I am trying to say, that when you use it to help yourself, it helps you bounce back and be productive when you run into a negative situation or a crisis or have to deal with negative people. But then how you're showing up with other people can help keep them in the best game that they can be in, the best mindset they can be in, so they can be productive as possible too. Does that make sense?
So yeah, and at first when you're describing it, I'm like, this sounds really confusing. Like how do I use my emotions and feelings to do these things? But it's really how I keep my emotions either in check, right? Or I'm guessing my negative emotions in check, right? So that I respond in the right way. Is that basically?
Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah. So in the video that I put together, I explained the science behind what goes on in our brains and how we're already wired to basically, have a danger detector. And so every encounter we have with another person, it's the amygdala in our brain triggers or tags that event as either a reward or a negative encounter. And so then I go on to explain kind of the science as far as then it, sends messages to the thinking part of the brain that influences our behaviors and our performance and our decisions. So a negative encounter, it's sending us down, that spiral of limiting our thinking, impacting our behaviors. An example, you walk into a room and somebody doesn't greet you or shrugs you or looks at you the wrong way or doesn't even say hello. That's an example of, a negative encounter that your very next behavior will be impacted by that. And so the idea here is that we learn how to push pause before we either overreact or say or do something that's just going to make the situation worse.
And I've been guilty of that. Like I've gone somewhere and maybe somebody I'm friends with on Facebook, right? And I'm standing there, I see them, and like they won't even look at me or talk to me. And then I'm like, they're mad at me. Like what? Yeah. Like what did I do? And I start replaying, like, did I say something that offended him? And then like it either is like, I'm afraid that they're mad at me, or I think they're snubbing me, right?
Right, right.
That they think they're better than me and they or something.
And
So that is true that happens. So you understanding emotional intelligence will be able to help to really interpret what's going on and
right.
respond probably in a much better way.
Exactly. And like the first part is just being aware of what's going on in the brain. And so once you understand what's going on, you can then develop the skills to be able to manage your emotions better and more effectively, but also be able to name the emotions. So part of it is self awareness, is knowing what's going on, but also being aware of what you're feeling at any given time. And then knowing that that's going to impact your behaviors and your decision making and how you're showing up with other people. And so, like you were just describing that situation, think about how much energy and time basically
Oh,
is wasted, kind of going down that spiral. And if we can
yes.
recognize and stop that, then we can rebound and be more resilient and be back to our most productive states more quickly.
So I was going to ask, my next question is going to say, well, why is this so important? But I mean, you teach leadership and you teach, how to get people to really become leaders. And you're
Yeah.
also teaching about workplace. But this definitely, I mean, this crosses over into just individuals as well and how to respond. And so I'll ask you, instead of me trying to answer the question, why is this so important?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I did provide the group too, is an infographic, because I never know when I'm talking with somebody until I ask questions why they might care about this. But there's so much research that shows it's impacting everything from people being able to be more effective salespeople, being more effective leaders and supervisors, employee engagement, customer retention, employee retention. I mean, there's so many areas that it's like, why wouldn't you care about this if there's so much research that shows that it's a powerful tool? It
Yeah.
helps, reduce turnover and helps companies save costs related to that. So
Wow.
knowing that it can help you as an individual, both in your personal and professional life, because some people are in situations, now I'll use the word toxic, but it could just even be an unhealthy either workplace or unhealthy, relationships. And so knowing what's going on and how to build the tools to be able to be more effective in those situations. And in some case, obviously recognizing that, hey, I need to leave this,
Yeah.
situation. But the training, the model that I'm certified in, it crosses, both professionally as well as personally, very applicable. And in fact, I think you could, raise resilient kids with the information, teaching them the behaviors associated with emotional
Oh, I'm
intelligence.
sure. Absolutely.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I am so excited to learn about this because it really does cross over into so many areas of our lives. And I am that type of person where I can hear a million great things about me and one negative thing, and I
Yeah.
will fixate on that one negative thing
Yeah.
and just really struggle. Like I'll carry it with me for years and replay it over and over. In fact, I spoke at a conference in Chicago just recently, and I had this conversation with one of the speakers. And after I was done speaking, we got immediately how people rated us. They rated through their phone. So you got immediate feedback, pretty much
Yeah.
immediate feedback. And I got great feedback across the board. But one person, and this was a basic workshop, one person said it was too basic. But there were a lot of really great questions, and everybody was kind of spread, which that happens, right? But going back this year preparing, do you know that comment from 2 years ago was in my head, and I was so worried about, was I going to keep it too basic, even though nobody else said that, just one and out of the whole group, it
Yep.
just consumed me. So I'm really excited. How did you get into this? Because this is super cool,
Yeah.
and it seems like it's cutting edge. I don't know if I'm like behind the times, but it's
No.
just, how did you get involved?
Well, but as you said, I've been teaching leadership development for years, and back in the 90s, Daniel Goleman came out with his book about emotional intelligence, and that was a really big deal, one of the best sellers. And so I was, thoroughly excited about this stuff because I really believed in it. I'm a psychology major, and so it's like, This is right up my alley. And so I would teach this in my leadership classes. And then what I ended up doing was I learned about this particular model, and it's a behavior-based model, which, us psych majors know that behaviors can be learned. So it's not
Like nerds unite.
yeah, yeah. And so, the assessments that I have available to administer measure how people are showing up. So their behaviors are observable, they're measurable, and they're learnable. So rather than measuring your potential to be emotionally intelligent, which that would be EQ, similar to IQ, this is measuring emotional intelligent behaviors. And so the Dr. Ben Palmer, the person that put this whole program together that I'm certified in, really wanted to find a way to make it applicable and relevant to the workplace and what we do, but it easily crosses over into our personal lives, like I said. So I went and got certified as first of all, a practitioner, and then I went back for an advanced certification. So now I'm an emotional intelligence instructor and can facilitate all kinds of, leadership development trainings, but also if people aren't in positions of leadership, being able to get an idea of their own, how they're showing up in the workplace and interacting with other people. So I love
And
it.
how cool that you're going to share that with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I'm so excited. So tell me, what can we expect to learn this month in the Entrepreneur Society from you?
Yeah, absolutely. So this first go around is the introduction. So kind of going into what is EI, what is the science behind emotions, why does it impact us in the ways that I said it impacts us. I also go into a little bit of this great new tool called the Emotional Climate Index, where companies or organizations can actually get a sense for what's going on in their own workplace as far as what their employees are feeling, and so that they can look at, are there some adjustments that need to be made? Do people feel valued and appreciated? Or are they stressed and exhausted? Kind of stuff. Yeah.
That is so important, because I know when I worked, like when I did the 9 to 5, right? And I mean, I've been lucky because I really have had some amazing bosses in my life that I've learned from. So very few bosses or environments that I felt were toxic, but they were there.
Yeah.
And it just defeats you, and you take it home with you. And it's just hard to really shake. I remember getting like sick to my stomach, having to go into work the next day because you're just like, oh, I really don't want to do this. So this emotional climate index. So you give it to actually the employees to get a temperature, or like how exactly does that work?
How does that work? Well, how it works, it's such a super simple tool. It takes people like 5 minutes to take. So I'd work with the manager or a point person and find out what are the demographics? How do you want to slice and dice the information? Do you want to look at all entry-level employees, and then all supervisors, and then the high-level leaders? Or how do you want to slice and dice it so that you can get a report for each one of those groups, which is really valuable? And so knowing how they want to look at the results, I plug that into the system, and it provides me with a link, and then that person just emails the link out to their employees, and they, like I said, it takes 5 minutes for them to complete, and I get a report. It's wonderful. It's a great tool to get an idea at a glance what's going on in your organization, because we know that emotions impact our performance, and performance impacts employee engagement, and employee engagement basically hits the bottom line. And so I share, that particular instrument in this first go around. I actually walk everybody through their own EI experience. So you talked about working, that you were pretty lucky, you had pretty good bosses. I walk everybody through an exercise that allows them to see for themselves just how they have been impacted by really great bosses, teachers, coworkers, or mentors, but also who's that person that's been the most challenging for people. And then wrap it up with going over the model, introducing the GenOS International model, and explaining the 6 competencies associated with it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, round 2 and 3. Yeah, that's the first round. And then next future weeks, I'm going to go over some information that gets people to understand what triggers us. What are the 5 categories that either, when used for good can put people in a positive mindset, and when used poorly can, send people spiraling. And so recognizing those, but also knowing how to have those difficult conversations. That will be the round 2, and then the important stuff.
That I think, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean like to interrupt you right there, but because in my head I'm thinking this is really cool for business owners, right?
Yeah.
And companies to kind of do this. But I'm thinking, gosh, the Entrepreneur Society has a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners where they may not have a lot of employees or any employees at all. So,
right.
And I understand how the emotional intelligence can impact them as far as like how they are thinking and responding in daily life. But I think right there, what you said is so important. I think like that's the beast we kind of face.
Oh yeah, for sure. One of the things, if you are an entrepreneur, I always call it the emotional roller coaster. Like I'm an entrepreneur too, and being everything for my own business can be really challenging. And you have the the really great highs that make you feel like, yes, I'm doing fantastic, and then you have those lows as well. And so how can you get yourself bouncing back? And that's actually the last session, is on how to build your resilience, so that people can understand what are some strategies that they can incorporate into their daily lives to help them bounce back when they have those negative situations. So yeah, lots of good stuff.
It is so much good stuff. I am so psyched. And honestly, I cannot wait to share everything that you've sent me already with everybody else in the group. Great. So that they can have these worksheets and these videos, and it is going to be awesome. Like February is just going to be totally kick ass learning this stuff. And it's going to be really cool because these are all these tools can just totally shift the way we think about everything for the rest of this year. And 2020, like 2020 vision, you keep hearing that from everybody. And I think so many people, and they do set goals in the beginning of the year every year, but there's something about this year that I feel like I've been hearing so much more of people really wanting to make some big impactful changes in their lives. And this is perfect for that because it's your mind, it's your attitude, it's your emotions. And I'm just stoked. If you can't tell, I am like so excited to do this. So
I love your excitement.
Thank you. Huh?
I love your excitement. Oh, one thing I did want to add real quick. So back in 2016, the World Economic Forum predicted that emotional intelligence would be one of the top skills required across all positions, across all industries. And LinkedIn just this month came out with their list of the most critical skills in the workplace to be successful in the workplace, and it's number 5. So as far as, is the time right? Yeah, the time is right now.
Yes, that's good to know. I'm so glad you shared that with us. So Kelley, I am going to just say thank you so much for hopping on today for a few minutes just to kind of talk about what we can expect for just putting everything in place. You've done so much work that, again, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for the effort you put behind this to provide us with so much valuable information. I know I appreciate it. I know the members will appreciate it once they get to see it. They'll be blown away. So thank you. Tuesdays is when I'm actually going to be releasing Kelley's first video in the group. You'll get that in your email. It'll be in the portal. You'll also get the worksheets. And I think we're going live next Friday too. Are we going live every Friday? So next Friday we'll be going live in the group as well, just to kind of recap some of them, answer your questions that you may have about what you learned in the first video. So be sure to join us. And Kelley, thank you again. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
We'll see you guys.
All right. Bye.